We'll now cover the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. Now the Spa Novices Hurdle is what is registered as. This race, eight of its last winners have been 6 or 7-year-olds. Obviously last year at Fisher's Cross. Which one is it that you're marking on the card this year, Adam?
Well, like I said, you're looking at the top 2 in the market again in this race. Like I said, I know someone else on the panel has got a lot of money on one, King's Palace, so I don't know whether Sandy wants to sort of say how much money he's got on in total, but I know he's very sweet on this horse.
Yeah, well, let's get our pens out and circle that one then, King's Palace, to kick it all off. Did you get a better price than the 3-1 that's about at the moment?
I did indeed, Tom. I did take a bit of 16s. This horse, for me, he's officially rated 156 over hurdles at the moment. Last year's winner at Fisher's Cross was officially rated 152 before the race. His 2 wins at Cheltenham have visually been so impressive. He has a high cruising speed. His jumping is fantastic. I was talking to Adam earlier on, and we were saying how he almost jumps like a 2-miler.
Possibly, I was going to say, possibly a future chaser like Bobsworth, who won it in 2011.
Yeah, but this horse,
he's so slick. He's like, although it's a funny comparison, he jumps like binocular. It's not even like he stops at his hurdle. He just wings them, and your heart's in
on
his mouth.
stride. When he takes a hurdle on stride,
would have no problem going over the Neptune distance. I think he doesn't lack speed at all. Okay, the form, we should talk about that because it has been let down slightly. He beat Creepy by 18 lengths on his first time winning at Cheltenham, and Creepy has just been so disappointing recently.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because Creepy, after this with King's Palace, Creepy went on to win a Grade 2, I think, and then unseated next time, I think in December. And I think ever since he unseated the rider, I think it's just been downhill for him ever since.
Yeah, he
beat him by 18 lengths, so it's not as if he beat him a neck or anything like that. He then beat a horse called Masters Hill of Colin Tizard, who actually finished second to another horse called Deputy Dan.
Yeah, which you gave quite positive mentions to last time.
That's correct.
Deputy Dan, yeah.
He's probably more.
I actually spoke to Connections today, who said they're not sure which of the novice hurdles they're going to go for yet. With
you heard it here first.
Okay.
Anyway, Sally, let's get crack on with your King's
Warwick run of Masters Hill when he was second to Deputy Dan. The third that day was Splash of Ginge. So the form has, in that side of things, is a little bit stronger than the Creepy side.
Yeah.
But King's Palace, I know this is a very strong thing to say, but he is my banker at the festival.
Yeah, I did fall at air though on Mark, and you say he jumps slickly. Sometimes I think he can get a bit flamboyant almost, and a bit overconfident, overzealous in his jumping. I think there are mistakes to be made by King's Palace round Cheltenham.
No.
I think he's matured.
Absolutely not.
He's matured last season to this season.
Definitely.
His jumping is impeccable.
Well, obviously very keen there then on King's Palace, John. One that I'm going to throw right at you. I don't know if you got any notes on this, or quite frankly whether you know the horse I'm talking about, Briar Hill. Willie Mullins. When Willie Mullins has got such a strong yard going down, is this one to keep an eye on?
Well, I think so. I mean, Briar Hill has already proven himself at the track, champion bumper winner, I think by quite a wide margin as well. I think about 7 lengths.
Yeah.
We know he likes the course, and I feel he's certainly one to maybe side with in this race.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his 3 from 3, I think, and over hurdles. I mean.
Yeah.
And
2 Grade 1s in the bag. Obviously carried a lot of weight. Sorry, go on.
What I found interesting about Briar Hill, I watched an interview with Ruby, and he said that in the champion bumper, they're going down the hill. I think just before we were going down the hill, he was flat to the boards on him, and suddenly he just picked up.
Yeah.
Which shows a sign of a good horse, and I do feel he is. I know the market suggests it. I feel he is the main danger to my King's Palace.
Well, last year my parents were in the hotel where Ruby was staying, and Ruby said to Richard Hughes, he said, "Whatever you do," he said, "do not get stuck behind mine. It's as slow as a boat." And that's exactly what he said, quote unquote, "It's as slow as a boat, don't get stuck behind me." And then Briar Hill then went on to go and win.
Well, a boat might not be so slow given the conditions at the moment. But,
that says a lot about the champion bumper, is how much you need to be able to stay in it. They go so quick.
Yeah.
And you've just got a horse that just stays 2 miles is not going to win a champion bumper.
It's not going to win a champion bumper, no.
Q Card won the champion bumper.
Okay, well...
a proper stayer. We'll find out.
That's a debate for another day.
No, okay, so...
Can I get your selection, John?
Well, I think I'm going to side with Bri Hill.
You're going to side with Bri?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sweet on Bri Hill as well.
I mean,
you know,
I'd like to say as well, he's by a stayer, and although he hasn't run over the 3 miles yet...
He's carried heavy weight round Nace and things like that.
And I think the fact that he's bred to stay and you know, the fact they all thought that he was a bit slow, but then he stayed and won that bumper means that he's a stayer to me, and I think he can win.
Well, there you go. John Henwood Ross thinks that Bri Hill's the one to back. So do I over here.
I'll run through some of your best picks for the festival so far. Handicap King, he's tweeted to say Romford Pele, whatever race that shows up in, he'll be on. I've also had Paul Cowley tell me that the Fly is going to win, a very popular pick. Every week we do this. Nigel Plough's probably best value bet is Flaxton Flair at a huge price for a couple of the handicaps there. 33s he's got, so he's looking quite happy there. We've also got Ian Beckwith, who says third act in the bumper. That's his pick for that. One I'll point you to, I'll leave you with, All Pepper this week. It's been backed all sorts off the boards. I'm on at 50s, Sandy's on at 50s. Have a watch on Saturday when it runs. I'll pass you back over for the panel's picks.
Yeah, I walked into the studio earlier today and everything is All Pepper. That's exactly what the chat's been about. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that one, Sandy, because you're smiling, aren't you, like a Cheshire cat over there.
Regarding All Pepper, it was literally a bit of a guessing game. I'm not going to deny that. I looked at the Irish runners in the race. I looked at sort of what Mullins had and what he had at the top of the market. I thought, this one hasn't run yet. Big price. I thought, Jude's got an entry at Fairy House in a Grade 2. If it wins, it's not going to be 50 to 1. It was simple as that, really. One of the tweets in was a horse called Third Act for the Champion Bumper. That horse is very, very, very interesting. Colin Tizard knows how to win the Champion Bumper. Obviously, we touched on Q Card, and I've also, like Third Act, quite a bit. I don't want to go too much further into that.
And obviously, you know, talking to Willie last week, we can, you know, narrow it down. We don't, you know, 4 Geens probably not going to go there.
No. Captain Cutter's now a doubt, obviously.
Captain Cutter's now a doubt with what we've had with Nicky on the phone, and we really have managed to narrow it down here. So if we to narrow it down even more, can I have your selections, please, panel, for this last race?
I'm just going to quickly say...
No, can I have your selections, please, for this last race? Well, comments on a postcard, please, Adam.
Each way at a big price, Rathfinden 20 to 1. King's Palace to win, though.
OK, King's Palace, King's Palace and Bri Hill.
That's the one.
Excellent.